One group that many aren't taking into consideration, as far as I'm concerned, is black men. And I say that based on a New York Times column written very recently by Charles Coleman Jr. Take a look at this excerpt from the column right here. Quote, "Black men today face a unique reality that warrants consideration. Under nearly any relevant index for measuring the quality of American life, how far we get in school, our finances when compared to those of our white counterparts, and how long we will live, black men consistently rank last or near last. There is not a black man alive in this country right now who has ever seen black male unemployment equal to or less than that of his white counterparts. This is true even more acutely for a 34-year-old black man born in 1990 who may have voted in every presidential election since his 18th birthday, saw the election of a black president, and spent more of his adult life with Democrats in the Oval Office than Republicans. How could we not be asking ourselves, come November, which candidate can help us change course?" End quote. Again, that was written by Charles Coleman Jr. He ain't better than my next guest. That article was well written, giving him props. But damn it, he ain't Roland Martin. He ain't Roland Martin Unfiltered. That's who I got right here, right now. What's up, big boy? How you doing, man? How's everything?
Charles a nice brother, but he does belong to that youth group called Omega Psi Phi.
That's right. Oh, no. I take every word I said. I take every word I said. That brother Bruce. You watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. Oh, by the way, Roland, I saw you stepping.
Black people are beginning to come out and question the Democratic Party. You know, for years, we've given our unwavering support to the Democratic Party. We understand the history of the Democrats and the radical Republicans and all the things that we went through coming out of slavery and the Black Codes and Jim Crow, and our support that we had to the Republican Party. And then the situation that went on with Barry Goldwater, he didn't want to support the Civil Rights Act 64, and it was just so many different things. We understand what they did to Jackie Robinson and how we began to give our support to the Democratic Party and LBJ. But both of those parties was historically prejudiced and against our community, right? But you've always had the emergence of the Black Boule, the fraternity classes that's always been at the doorstep of the black community and has been the mouthpiece speaking for the community. Well, now we're at a place now where the black community is speaking out against these fraternities and against these boule groups, saying that we are dissatisfied for decades and generations of things of not getting the job done. And you're starting to see now, because what you just saw in the beginning of the video was a boule fest with Stephen A. Smith and Fat Boy. What you saw, right? But let's look at the aspects of Roland Martin, right? And the problem that you have now is the Democratic Party has failed to actually come down to the grassroots and talk to the grassroots people. And the grassroots are now asking questions. And they're insulting us as if we don't understand policy. We don't know what we're talking about. We have eyes, we have brains, but we're not allowed to think for ourselves, comprehend for ourselves, or even ask questions, because the boule is smarter than us. And if y'all don't believe what I'm saying, check this out.
It's a huge piece here. What Democrat, and I'm going to say Democratic white strategists don't understand, is that the further you get away from the Black Civil Rights Movement, Black people less self-identify as Democrats. You and I are Gen X. I've been really paying attention to this since I graduated from college in 1991. You and I are in different tax brackets than our parents. You and I,
right,
and others are focusing on things that our parents didn't focus on. So what now begins to happen? You now begin to look at stuff differently. If you never owned the business, you didn't care about a corporate tax rate. You now own the business, you do.
Yes, you do.
So it's a pocketbook issue. So what Democrats have not done is they have not crafted a strategy on how do you micro-target Black people. You got to talk to a college-educated Black woman different from a non-educated Black woman. You got to talk to a brother who in rural America different than
Right.
urban America. They've always had sort of this one size fits all.
But
So what you're now seeing in the data, you're now seeing people go, you ain't talking to me,
right.
so I'm gonna start looking at other options.
Okay, and I'm saying to you, and this is where I can get on you, because you dropping facts, I'm not disputing it, but then you'll turn around and you'll point out how folks on the right, well, you know what, they ain't worth a damn. Look at what we trying to do here on the left. But on the left, you've got folks that are strategists that are in the ears and in the head of candidates that are manipulating the proceedings, and they ain't paying attention to our community, like you just highlighted.
But here's the problem. The problem is the strategy don't look like me and you. So the problem.
I agree.
Right. So the problem is the strategists control the money, control the messaging. They're not paying attention to the streets. They're not paying attention to the ground. So when you listen to the ground, you now got to realize you now have to communicate with people differently. Now, when I went through Charles's column, he was talking about issues, criminal justice reform. He was talking about health, things on those lines. Here are the facts, and it's just flat out facts. When you look at the difference between Trump, Harris, Democrats, and Republicans, Republicans wanted to end the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act specifically has helped Black folks get insurance, which means help Black men. So when Black men say, well, I need to hear something specific. Well, when the vice president worked on 3.5 years, the issue of Black infant mortality, that impacts Black men. I had a brother say, no, it don't. I said, brother, when she's talking about infant mortality, she ain't just talking about the sister with the baby, because the sister is birthing Black boys. I said, that's
but my problem. But stop right there. I need you to stop right there, because my point is, I ran into to Senator Chris Coon. I know you know who that is, based out of Delaware. All right, Chris Coon, based out of Delaware. He's done some HBCU work with me, and I really, really appreciate him for that. Right. But he asked me about a question. I brought up your name because obviously anytime somebody's talking to me about politics, particularly on the left and what they're trying to do, and voices out there that should be listened to and heard, I always point them in your direction, my brother. I never had that. Don't come to me. Listen to that brother right there. He know a lot more about that. I'm venturing into it. I ain't trying to be no expert in this lane. I want no parts of it. But I will say this to you. The messenger matters as much as the message. And if you're going to sit there and say, we've got a vice president who is Black, who is the Democratic nominee for the president, who is a Black woman, who we have a minority, Speaker of the House, in Hakeem Jeffries, he's Black. We saw, Clyburn, he got Biden elected. If you're going to bring up all of these things, then how do these surrogates, how do these folks that are really financing the campaigns and what have you get away with not paying attention to the Black community when you know you need them in order to win? Why are those folks in power letting these folks get away with that? Are you trying to win or are you not?
Right. And first of all, you're absolutely right. And messages do matter. I can tell you in 2016, on the night of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation ALC dinner, I literally told Hillary Clinton to her face, listen, you're going to lose this because your people got their heads stuck in their iPads, not listening to the ground. I told her, I've been trying to get your Black male surrogates on my show and your people are not responding. And she was high. She said, she literally said to Huma and to Marlon Marshall, if Roland's not getting them, I know others are not as well. And so you've got to have the voices out there. I can tell you, Black men were saying early in the Biden-Harris administration, where are your Black male administrative folks? And so you're right. You got to be sending out trusted messengers.
So Stephen A. Smith is fake pressing Roland Martin about how does the Democratic Party, who the Black community have been giving their support to for 1,000 years, get away with not paying attention to the actual grassroots that's responsible for them getting elected. And Roland Martin's response is, well, they have a lot of people that are setting these meetings up that is controlling the Democratic Party that don't look like us. He's saying this right in front of our face, right? Right in front of our face, he's saying this. We have ears, we hear him. We already got eyes, we know what they're doing. They're not coming to the Black grassroots to actually talk to Black men, to sit down and listen to Black men, to ask Black men what it is that what is it that's ailing us. And you know what, Roland? this is the policy, we disagree with this aspect of it. They're not coming to talk to us. And they're admitting this right here. They're saying that, he's saying, well, do they not want to win? Well, it's obvious that they don't need you because they're replacing you. And you notice how they never ever mention the immigration situation. They're replacing you with a Latino vote where they won't have to deal with you anymore. They're gentrifying you out of the communities that you once lived in where they won't have to deal with you anymore, right? But if y'all thought that was worse, check this out.
What the vice president has been doing is she sees this as an opportunity. She's been speaking to them when she's been speaking to the various groups. She's been having the conversations, but you got to have more conversations. But this is now where the challenge comes in. Here's the challenge now, Stephen A. And I wrote everything Charles wrote. Well, I'm gonna tell you something about to blow you away. When the black women
go ahead, I'm listening.
When the black women met in 2020, Win with Black Women, they launched that to get her the VP nomination. She got it. They kept meeting. They've been meeting every Sunday for 4 years. Do you know how many times brothers were like, yo, man, we got to meet? And I said, we'll organize it. It never happened. You know why? Because typically when stuff got organized in the black community, sisters are the one that did it. So when we did the Win with Black Men call, phenomenal. 55,000 folks were on the call the day after the sisters did. But guess what? It's a whole bunch of these brothers ain't been on the call since then. So here's what I'm saying to Charles and to every black man out there. I can't wait for the Democratic Party to speak to black men. I need black men mobilizing and organizing, speaking to black men about our issues. So I have been, this goes back more than a decade. I have directly challenged my frat Alpha Phi Alpha. I've challenged all the fraternities in Divine Nine, but also I challenged the Prince Hall Masons. I challenged black men's groups. See, we can sit here and say, hey, you know what? The party ain't doing this here, but this ain't about party. This is about us. It's about us.
Yeah, but they never listen, Roland. You know that. Come on, Roland. You know they don't listen. If there's one thing, and you know this better than most, because you are a black man that speak, and you can't stand when people ain't listening, because you know they should be listening to you, and it drives you crazy, okay? You know historically, black folks, black men lament their voices being heard. And oh, by the way, little kept secret, we gonna put it out there on Front Street. A lot of times we don't feel the women are listening to us. And so that plays a role too. And that's not fair. That's not always fair. Because a lot of times they are listening. We just ain't making no damn sense sometimes. So I get that part.
I can tell
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
First of all, black women been swinging for us for a long time, even when we were silent.
Oh, no. Let me say this. Now, did you see how Stephen A. Smith said that they're not listening? They've never really historically listened to black men. And then he said this, we even know that a lot of times our sisters don't listen to us. But once he said that, he turned right around and denigrated black men by saying that, well, we don't listen and we're bullheaded. And then they said, well, the sisters been supporting us. Let me tell you something, man. Black men have been on the front line to protect women and children since the beginning of America. We've had black men fighting and shedding blood, dying on the soil for the black community and black people. When Stephen A. Smith said that sometimes our women don't listen to us, he should have just stayed there and stood on truth. You know what we're seeing right now in the Democratic Party? Black men being denigrated and disrespected by a lot of our sisters just for our opinion and for us speaking up and asking questions. As if we haven't earned the right to ask questions. Huh? I mean, we come from a people. We come from a people, right, of Octavius Valentine Cato. We come from a people. We come from many different people of A. Philip Randolph. So many black men that's been my father, that's been on the front line protecting the black community and black women. So now when we speak up, all of a sudden, we don't know what we're talking about. I mean, it's thousands of black men that I can name, from Dr. John Henry Clark all the way down to Malcolm X. I mean, so many black men. So you don't have to say, we already know that the black male is the black man, the father, the man is the protector of the community. And the way to destroy the community is to silence the black man and get the black man out of the way. We already know that. That's been said historically. They've done it in South Africa. They've done it in West Africa. They've done it all over the planet where you had the melanated black man. But these Boule, two Boule black men, they don't stand on business. They don't stand on business. But it's not, but the thing is, you have people like Carter G. Woodson and so many different black men. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I can name so many, but I'm not going to do it right here, right? So many black men that's been on the front line. Medgar Evers, black men that's given their lives. Nat Turner, some of your fathers out there. The unions and the Pullman Porters, without A. Philip Randolph, it don't even exist. So don't stop disrespecting black men. But I'm not even finished, because we get to the point where Roland is doing all this twerking and running man for the Democratic Party, and they won't even sit down and talk to him. The presidential nominee won't even come and sit down and talk to him. Hillary Clinton wouldn't even sit down and talk to him. All these people, like, they're not even, he hasn't gotten a cabinet position. They're not rocking with him. And y'all don't think, like, watch this, check this part out.
Oh, no doubt.
So here's what, and when we start talking about policy, when these brothers, I'm in Philadelphia right now doing a show tonight. I'm at Lincoln University tomorrow. When brothers come up to me and they say, man, I ain't doing nothing, I then go, what do you mean? So when Charles was talking about criminal justice reform, he was like, well, they didn't get the George Floyd Justice Act. They didn't. Biden-Harris signed an executive order. This Civil Rights Division has investigated 12 police departments, one under Donald Trump. So things are actually happening. What has to happen is we have to make sure that we are also more organized to challenge power to actually get things done. So what should be happening right now is, with less than 30 days, brothers should be asking themselves, okay, everything Charles laid out is great. Here's the question. I'm a black man. What are the 5 things I care about? And where does Harris line up? And where does Trump line up? And if I got more check marks by Harris' name, I ain't even thinking about Donald Trump. Because, see, let's be real clear. I'm going to put this out. You and I, it don't actually matter who wins. They don't actually have a material impact on us because of, frankly, where we are financially. But let me say this here to a brother out there who is asking the questions about unemployment, getting the capital for a business, things along those lines. You better be asking yourself, who cares about your health care? Who cares about your education? Who cares about civil rights? Who cares about the environment? You got a hurricane bearing down another one all across the country. If you a brother, who's providing benefits to you to be able to escape that so you can take care of your family? What we got to do is stop saying what folk not doing and step back and say, well, maybe, let me find out what people are doing and then how that's impacting my life.
Roland. I can feel you on that, Roland, but here's my deal. Like, for example, that message being sent by you is admirable. I'm glad I'm giving you my airwaves. You got your own, but I'm glad I'm giving you my airwaves to say, what you're saying, because you deserve it. The flip side to this is this, though. Kamala Harris should be saying that more effectively. And oh, by the way, I appreciate her on The View. I appreciate her on Stephen Colbert. I appreciate her in those platforms. They ain't Roland Martin. Now let me give you, and I know how liberal leaning you are. But I also know that even when liberals sit in front of you, they better bring their stuff. It's gonna be a problem. You ain't gonna let them off the hook.
Actually, I'll say this: I'm black leaning.
Yeah, fine. Right.
No.
I'm good with it. No, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. That's accurate. I'm just saying, where the hell? I ain't see it. Did she sit down with you yet?
Hold up. That's actually happening. Soon.
Okay. All right.
So,
okay.
But to your point, trust me, and I've been saying this for years as well. You're absolutely right. You have to also, for instance, about 3 weeks ago. She was on Ricky Smiley's show.
Yep. Yeah.
They did all the smoke, but that's also part of the
Yep.
deal. Part of the deal is with these campaigns. I'm talking about strategists now, and again, they don't look like us. This is also getting them to understand you better have a better respect for Black-owned media and for Black voices, and also
right.
how you're communicating. Again, where the campaigns have made a mistake is they don't understand the old model of hitting the Black churches, going into NAACP. That's gone. We're now living in a world. It's a digital world, a technology world. They're getting information from different voices, from podcasts, from digital shows. Listen, I pulled the data the other day. I said somebody, I've done your show 3 times. If you add up all the views, it almost hits 1 million. Guess what? It's the shows on CNN not even getting 400,000 people. So that's right. Why those shows are mad, because people are going to other places. Look, 65% of my YouTube audience are Black men. What needs to be happening here, the messaging absolutely has to change.
You see all that word salad that Roland Martin said, and then Stephen A. Smith said, well, listen, with all that you said, did she sit down with you yet? And he started stumbling and bumbling and said, oh, it's coming. When? She should have been sat down with you. You guys talked about the numbers. You guys talked about the numbers and how you are getting more numbers than CNN and a lot of these MSNBCs and all this stuff is getting. She went down and talked to Charlamagne and them. Charlamagne don't know nothing about policy. She had Megan Thee Stallion, but she didn't come sit down to you because maybe you might ask her a question that she may not be able to answer, right? I don't know, because all of you are part of that same class, but I'm going to say something controversial. And let's be honest about it. If a Black man was running for president and he had a white wife and he was a stepfather to white children with all the single Black mothers in the Black community, with about 85% of our communities being raised by single mothers, will Black women support him? Will he have unwavering support from Black women, or will he be denigrated and called out? I know the answer to that because I'm a Black man from the Black community. And I'm not even mad at sisters for the position that they will take because I understand how our community has been constructed and set up. The problem I have is the hypocrisy. We talk about historical racism, institutional and systematic racism. The question that I'm asking is, Kamala Harris is not married to a Black man. Kamala Harris is not raising Black children. Kamala Harris is not a part of the Black community or connected to the struggle of the Black community. But yet and still, you just give her your unwavering support where you know you wouldn't do the same. This is the problem. We need people that speak to our voice to understand our pain. She already came on and said, I'm not going to do nothing just for Black people. But what we've been through and how our families have been destroyed and busted up and what historically these people have said about us and the Black family, what I've noticed is, in all my years of being a hardcore pro-Black, Black people don't want liberation. Black people just want white folks to treat them better. Black folks just want W folks to be nice to them. You don't want independent way of thinking. You don't want Black communities and strong Black families. That's not what you want because your behavior doesn't demonstrate it. When are the Black communities going to demand that a Black man and Black woman, FBA, Black man and Black woman, be together, which represent what happened to us on this soil, be nominated for president? Because I'm going to tell you something. Kamala Harris' family are immigrants. A lot of the Black immigrants will always support Kamala Harris. And there's no knock to them because it represents the symbology. She represents an immigrant that made it to America and made it to the highest level of government. They will always support a Kamala Harris. But the Negro in America, right, that doesn't represent us. And the American establishment knows this. They know that they're not allowing the so-called Negro to reach that status because it's a different type of argument. And some of our people are so hypocritical and some are misguided because you know that you would never, ever support Obama if his wife was white. It would have never happened. But your hatred, so-called hatred for Trump so much, you just go against all the principles that we always stood on as a people. that we always stood on. This has nothing to do with me hating Kamala. I'm making a point to the thought process of the black community and what we've always talked about and what we know, that black man would never get support. And guess what? I wouldn't support him either, because I'm hardcore pro-black family. I'm hardcore putting together what LBJ and Eisenhower and Madison Grant and all these people spoke out against the black family and was put up policies against the black families that we had to have a civil rights movement for. So now all of a sudden we can have non-black families and we just give unwavering support. And when black men say something, we denigrate our own people for going against Kamala. What connection to the African-American black community does Kamala Harris have? Oh, she went to a HBCU. What the hell does that mean? Again, what connection does she have to the black community? That's the question I'm having. The same as Obama. But I'm going to cut this video short here. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.